something, possibly replacing the festival in the future by saying we look forward to what's next. Stay tuned. We'll all be together in Candler Park again soon. Meanwhile, the show must go on for the 46th annual. It is one of the largest free jazz festivals in the country. Here's a look at some of the performers set to hit the stage. The free festival runs during Memorial Day weekend at Piedmont Park, starting Saturday, May 27th through Monday, the 29th, from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. each day. That's your headline.
Now, if Trump is arrested this week, what do you think will be the likely outcome?
Well, President Trump's lawyers have said that they will comply with law enforcement. So they even said they don't expect a standoff at Mar-a-Lago. And there's nothing for Governor Ron DeSantis to do. For example, a lot of people are suggesting that he should stop an extradition. And that simply isn't the case here. And so I think that if there is an indictment, I don't think that Trump will actually be arrested. I think that he will just simply go and cooperate with law enforcement to Manhattan to appear if he needs to be there in person for an arraignment.
And what would it mean for Trump's campaign, do you think, if he's indicted?
Well, I think that the base, of course, that supports President Trump and any rational American, of course, sees that this is a weaponization of the justice system and something that Jim Jordan's Committee on the Weaponization of Government is looking into. And I think that there's going to be significant pushback on this, and I think that will help President Trump's campaign. But on the same side, there's never a really great time for a candidate to have to deal with either the cloud of or an actual indictment. This is something that Donald Trump hasn't ever faced, and I don't think that that is going to be a particularly good thing for the campaign, and that's what the Democrats want. They also just want to drain his war chest for a campaign into 2024, so how this affects his ability to mount a significant candidacy, I think, remains to be seen.
And you said that people's trust in the system is low. What do you think would need to happen in this case to restore that trust on both sides?
Well, I think that the New York governor, Kathy Hochul, can come out and make a very strong statement condemning these types of weaponization of government. And if Alvin Bragg has any credibility whatsoever and doesn't want to simply torch his legal career, then he would decline to pursue this indictment. But a lot of people are saying that the die is cast. It does remain to be seen. The Democrats are saying, well, no one is above the law. And they mentioned that with respect to Donald Trump. But I would say, well, no one is below the law either. No one deserves to be targeted and not genuinely have due process and all of the considerations that would suggest that a malicious prosecution is never, ever warranted in a free and fair American society.
Trying to tell the truth to the grand jurors, because I read all these lies in the media that are being promoted by one side. If you see the full picture, you know, listen, if they want to go after Donald Trump and they have solid evidence, so be it. But Michael Cohen is far from solid evidence. This guy, by any prosecutor's standard, and I used to be deputy chief of the criminal division in the Southern District of New York, I wouldn't have touched a guy like Michael Cohen, especially if he's a convicted perjurer. Not to mention, as I said, the 50 to 100 lies he told us that are in those 330 emails.
Costello says out of 321 emails, only 6 were shown to the grand jury for review, and that they were cherry-picked and taken out of context. He says he was surprised that none of the jurors asked for the complete records that he brought in. Costello says when Cohen was his client, he was in a desperate state and was looking for a way out, and that Cohen told him at least 20 times he would do anything to stay out of jail. Now that Cohen has served time, Costello believes he's out for revenge. Costello testified that Cohen told him the payments to Stormy Daniels were made without Trump's knowledge, and that Cohen said he took out a loan to get the money. And protesters yesterday, Gavin Wax, the president of the club, says he doesn't want to be there if Trump is arrested. He advised others to protest peacefully and to stay away from the court if it happens.
Whenever it actually happens, it'll probably be a little bit of a zoo, so I would stay away.
The American people realize that this is a witch hunt. And these charges have been in circulation since 2018.
The fabric of our constitutional republic is more important than our political differences. These people don't care. They'll go after Trump. They'll arrest Trump because they want to stop him from restoring our country to what it was over the last number of years. We need a DA who's going to focus on doing the job and not weaponizing his office
to pursue political persecutions that are neither wanted nor warranted.
Former President Trump said he'll be arrested today, but with the jury not meeting today, the soonest he could be indicted is tomorrow. The NYPD is ready. They've set up barricades around the Manhattan Criminal Court and Trump Tower. The probe involves a $130,000 payment made to adult film star Stormy Daniels during Trump's 2016 campaign. We hear from an expert on the relevant law, concerns that the prosecution is a publicity stunt, and the broader implications if there is an indictment. It's great to have you with us, Mark.
Good to be here, Kevin. Thanks for inviting me.
Legal analyst Alan Dershowitz says DA Bragg is coming after Trump using made-up laws. He questions Bragg's apparent attempt to elevate a case about falsifying records of attorney Michael Cohen's alleged hush money payment to Stormy Daniels from a misdemeanor to a felony by trying to tie it to a federal violation of campaign finance law. Is this what's happening in your view?
It appears that Bragg is trying to have a federal prosecution, even though he's a local municipal prosecutor. And quite simply, a criminal procedure does not allow for a local prosecutor to try a federal charge. So the whole thing seems to be strung together on a theory which is not likely to hold forward.
And what do you think the judge is going to do if that is the case?
Well, ultimately, this is not going to go anywhere. We have to look at the rationale as to why it's being brought in the first place, which is kind of questionable, and what the expectations are. Is DA Bragg looking simply to garner publicity? I doubt he's really trying to get a prosecution that leads to a conviction in the long run, because there are a number of procedural defects here. For example, the statute of limitations has in all likelihood expired, and the statute of limitations, which is to protect individuals accused of crimes which happened way back when memories fade and witnesses get confused. It seems unlikely that there's too many defects in this case for it to ever result in a conviction, at least a conviction which holds water and survives an appellate court.
The statute of limitations may certainly play a role here, and I want to get back to publicity. Dershowitz also says that Bragg is just looking for an arrest and a perp walk and all the publicity that comes with it. And, would this benefit Bragg, or would it backfire? And two, would an appeals court even let it stand if there ever was a conviction?
Well, again, I think it's unlikely that the conviction would survive here. And, as to whether even there's a perp walk, I think that's even unlikely. I mean, there's probably all kinds of negotiation going on now between Trump's team and the DA's office. And, while it might be that Bragg and his colleagues' dream to have such a, quote-unquote perp walk, I think it's unlikely to happen.
Political leaders say if Trump is indicted, it will cause grave consequences for the nation's justice system and elections. What's your reaction to this?
Yeah, no, I think that it is founded on a legal theory which is not going to hold water. I mean, it's a novel legal theory, and you don't try novel legal theories when you want to prosecute the former president of the United States. So I think that nothing is going to come of this, and it's not going to survive. It's certainly not going to survive an appeal if there even was a conviction, if it didn't ever reach it that far. There are going to be numerous motions.
Terry Doughty denied the Biden administration's motion to dismiss the case. Doughty says he was unpersuaded by some of the government's arguments, and he didn't buy the attempt to write off the alleged coercive threats as isolated episodes. The Supreme Court throws out a federal appeals court decision on abortion. It would have upheld the right of a minor to go to court for permission to pursue an abortion without notifying her parents. In the case, a pregnant minor visited her local courthouse to seek allowance for bypassing parental consent for an abortion. A Missouri courthouse official told her she couldn't file a bypass petition without notifying a parent. She got an abortion in Illinois after a court there authorized it, absent parental notification. She then filed a civil rights lawsuit in federal district court claiming the Missouri courthouse office petitioner violated her constitutional rights. The petitioner took the case to the Supreme Court. Both sides ultimately agreed that the Supreme Court case should be dismissed. That's in light of the recent landmark ruling the Supreme Court made on striking down previous abortion decisions.
I would like to request that you call on everyone from across the room. You've been discriminating against me and discriminating against some people in the briefing room. And I'm saying that this is the U.S., this is not China, this is not Russia.
Today, News Africa founder Simon Atebia accused young Jean-Pierre of discriminating and avoiding calling on him. He says she couldn't ignore him just because she doesn't agree with his questions. Quite a few reporters from other publications scolded him and repeatedly tried to quiet him. Ateba told the press secretary that she is making a mockery of the First Amendment. Just weeks ago, Ateba's renewal application to be in the press room was rejected. After the situation calmed down, Jean-Pierre did not respond to Ateba's allegations against her, but said she will not allow him to disrespect his colleagues and disrespect White House guests. She threatened to end the hearing if Ateba kept talking. A Rhode Island school district,
basketball courts, and a fitness center. Local media says the school and recreation building survived the fire. Today, President Joe Biden announcing the establishment of 2 new national monuments. Ave Qua Ame is expected to be named in Nevada, and Kastner Range National Monument will be named in Texas. He'll make the announcement during the White House's Conservation and Action Summit at the Interior Department. These monuments will reportedly protect land totaling more than 500,000 acres. President Biden will also direct the Commerce Secretary to consider creating a new national marine sanctuary designation to protect U.S. waters surrounding Pacific Islands.